Hey guys, today we show another restoration project I've been working on, and this video is for Val, who owns this really nice Memorymoog Plus. So just going to go over for you, Val, sure everything's functioning. For anybody who wants to watch, feel free. Always enjoy you guys watching. But this one here got the typical stuff I do. Started with the repairs. It had auto-tune problems. It had functional issues. Some common stuff I see in these units. So I addressed those first to make sure there's nothing other uncommon stuff that were wrong with it, and then I went through and did the whole restore. And so basically I always like to do repairs first and then do the restoration. That way I'm not creating issues in the restoration. If I have a problem, I know it's something I caused, and I can go back and investigate and see what I might have done wrong, or if there's something that might have failed in between the process. And then of course once that's done, I clean the key bed, I wash the keys, clean the key contacts, give this thing a 12-hour burn-in, full calibration all the way from power supply to the voices. So that includes the power supply, demux, common analog board, voices, and go through all those to make sure everything's calibrated like it should be. And the end result is just a really, really great solid Memorymoog. I do vibration testing. I'll actually drop the unit like this right here. I'm going to show you what I do. So I pick it up by a corner, drop it on both ends, and that lets me see if it still works. And if it still works, and it does, that's one of the tests I do. So that's something else I hadn't really shared with you guys, because most of y'all would freak out if you saw me do that to your unit. But I know Val pretty good, so I thought he might appreciate that. But that's what I do. I actually do drop testing. I do vibe testing. I make sure these things are going to hold up, because in shipping they're going to take a good bit of banging around. So you have to make sure you have it boxed right too. Luckily this one's an ATA case. By walking on around here, you'll see this wood bar too on this particular unit, and that is actually something Val had installed to hold his sheet music when he plays this thing. So that's actually a music stand for this unit. So left that on there for him. But it gave the chassis a good cleaning. I conditioned the wood really good. I cleaned the metal work, all the stickers and interfaces. There's a few little nicks there that I couldn't clean up, but it is an old instrument. Serial number 3065. Just kind of walk around the back. This is a Plus, so you have all this extra stuff here. We'll just kind of walk on around so you can see this thing. It cleaned up really good. I actually hand wash all the knobs as well. When I clean the keys, I take all the keys off, wash those. I actually pull the knobs and usually wash them by hand while the keys are soaking. So I have kind of a technique for doing all that. You can see I also clean the badge up real good for you, so the badge looks good. You just see how great it looks. And of course I'll show you that everything functions here as far as the voices, all that good stuff. So we'll run auto-tune first. I'll show you that all 6 voices tune up. So we'll hit tune. Takes it a few seconds. You can see it says 6 tuned. So we got all 6 voices tuned up. I'll go here in debug mode and show you that all voices work. We'll go through each oscillator. So we'll start with oscillator 1 first. Get that off low frequency. C5 enter, that centers these 2 frequencies here so they're accurate. And then we'll go C4 enter, and that's going to ask me what voice I want to defeat. Now we can actually cycle through the voices. So right now you're just going to hear oscillator 1 here. And we'll start with sawtooth waveform on all oscillators. And so I'll walk you through oscillator 1 here on all voices. There you go. So there's voice 1. You can hear how accurate that is too. So that's your sawtooth. We'll go square wave, 50% duty cycle. So there's your square wave, and then we'll go to triangular wave. So there's oscillator 1 with all 3 waveforms. We'll turn it down. Turn up oscillator 2. Start with sawtooth. So there's oscillator 2, sawtooth. We'll go to square, 50% duty cycle for a square wave. And then we'll go to triangular wave. So there's oscillator 2, and then we got oscillator 3. So bring it up in volume. I just set the octave to 8 so they're all equal here. Start with sawtooth. So there's our sawtooth, square wave. I just won't turn the camera over here since. So there's the square wave of all oscillator 3, and then the triangular wave. So there's all your waveforms of all your oscillators. Combine them together. Put them all back to saw here. And you can cut on waveforms together on these units. So a lot of people ask me that from time to time. Can you actually select all waveforms together? And you can. You can turn them all on at the same time. So here's all 3 oscillators together. Anyways, I just want to show you that right quick. That's the easiest way to show you that all voices are working. So we got our debug mode. So now we're back in the unit. Reset preset 1. So now we're back in the presets. So let me put the camera on the tripod now, and like I said, I got this at a different angle for you guys. So we'll try this again here. Get my camera where I can see it there. Alright, so anyways, you've heard all voices work, but now just play. Your octave works. So that's preset 1, and of course preset 0 is a custom preset once again. This is the Prophet 5 preset that I built on my other unit I did, which is inspired by George Clinton Atomic Dog. So it's something like that, but what's nice about this preset is actually using the voice modulation for the pulse width of oscillator 2 off the envelope of the filter. So as long as I hold a note, you actually will not hear that oscillator because the pulse width goes to 0 pulse width. While off the key you can hear it, and it's got modulation on oscillator 2. Up the octave. Of course, excuse my clock, it's just telling me it's time to go home. But anyways, you heard preset 1, here's preset 2, which is probably my favorite brass. also a good preset to show you that the sequencer works. So we'll go CC enter. That takes into the sequencer, and then we'll play sequence 1. So as you can hear, the sequencer data is in there. And that's just demo data from the factory, is what that is. But actually, it's actually out of tune a little bit on this preset to give it that thickness. So if we actually hit C5 enter, it's going to center these up, and you hear how accurate those oscillators are. Thins it down a little bit. Of course, we can. You can hear all modulations working for all 3 oscillators. We can actually go through and just have oscillator 1, oscillator 2 only, oscillator 3, and of course all 3 oscillators. As you can hear, that's your modulation section, just roughly there. And of course, we can actually go through and make this just the pulse width work. I'll just go through modulation right quick. So modulation, we've got a square wave here. We're going to do a pulse width modulation. Pulse width of oscillator 1, turn that down, go to oscillator 2. So there's oscillator 2, now we'll go to oscillator 3. So that's your pulse width control of all 3 oscillators. Then you got your filter modulation. And I can show you the waveforms here. So you got triangular wave, sawtooth wave, reverse sawtooth wave, square wave, and sample and hold. So you're in triangular, here's sawtooth, reverse sawtooth, square wave, and then we got sample and hold. So let me get that button there. I have to clean that button just a little bit there. Speed it up. Have to go back and clean that button right there for you just a little bit. It's not as sensitive as I'd like it to be, so that's something I can address pretty quick. So I'll clean that before it goes out. But anyway, that's your modulation section. You've heard the filter, but we'll go in and turn down the oscillators. I'll show you the filters work here on all. You just turn one. So here's your filters. Make sure I'm in cyclic mode. So it's actually cycling through the voices right now. how great that sounds. That's just a little modulation on the filter. So we'll go back to just the filter. I'll show you the contour works for the filters. So bring up the contour mount. So we'll go to just a click. So put a little decay time on there. So there's your decay, here's your sustain. It's back at 0. And then we got the attack time. As you can hear there. Of course, we got the release time. So that's your contours for your filter, and now I'll show you that the contours work for the loudness of the VCA. So go here and make it have a 0. It's just a click. You can hear the release time when we turn the release off. That's a real long decay. As you can hear, and then you got your attack. So you can get so you can hear all the voices there as I played notes at different times. And then we got the release. Actually, get us you actually turn release off with a button. All that sounds really good. We've also got the voice modulation section, or the mono section. Actually, let me show you the mono works. So that's mono mode. Your polyphonic glide works as well. And one good test for a glide circuit when you're in poly mode is set all the keys in cyclic, set your keyboard mode cyclic, get all the glides at one key reference on all voices, and then hit a lower key. Glide down to that note, and so that's actually a way you can actually listen for a messed up glide circuit as well. So that's your contours, your glide circuit, your mono mode, and then we can also show you too. I'll just show you this right quick. We'll close that filter back up, and I'll show you the voice modulation. So we'll take here. We'll go filter modulation. Get to a little FM synthesis right here. How that works. It's just adding some film synthesis to the filter using oscillator 3 as still as an audio tone, so we can actually bring up oscillator 3. So here's just oscillator 3. We got it set to a fifth. Or we can go low frequency mode. Still tracking the keyboard. So here's where combining waveforms is kind of handy too if you use this as an LFO source. We can actually change the pulse width of the put the voice in reset mode, that way I can hold a note with one voice. So I can change the speed of this oscillator by changing the octave. Or we can go back. sound. Just when you start editing these presets, you can do so much within this voice modulation control. Of course, we can also just do some different things as well if we want to control oscillator 2 frequency. Go here. So this comes in handy if you have oscillator sync on. Now we're using the envelope of the filter to set our rate. That's just controlling oscillator 2 frequency. With how you set the envelope and how much control you give it. Now we're back to. So that's frequency of oscillator 2. Here's oscillator 1. I like to put just a little bit of that on there, and then I can actually get this nice kind of just a slight detune effect. So anyways, as you can hear, that sounds really good. My camera's about to time out. Knew that was coming. I looked at my little meter on my camera there. So anyways, I just showed you kind of the modulation stuff a little bit there. Just something a little bit different than my typical, just go through the whole routine thing. But anyways, that's just some of the characteristics you can get out of this instrument. And of course the presets, it's got some good presets. We'll have to do 21. 21's a great preset. It's a good pads. Also, I'll show you how the arpeggiator works. We've got a faster attack time on the envelopes. We'll go arpeggiator. I'm going to actually make it do a latch. So we'll go hold. That's the hold mode. It's kind of like a power chord button, so you can actually play a chord, hold it, off the button, now it's back to normal. So that's just some function for you. Got some weird presets. So this preset here, 38, I always bring this up, but it has what they call unconditional contour. And what that's going to do is it's going to allow the contour, even when you're off note, it's going to follow the ADSR of the contour. So and then what you also have, you have Keyfollow, which actually shortens the decay and release times depending on keyboard. So usually the low notes have a longer release time. As you get into the higher notes, it'll have a shorter release time. We'll cut off the unconditional contour. See if you can hear this. Make a fast attack here. See, we got a pretty long sustain. They get shorter as I go up the keyboard. So you can hear that longer down here than up here. I can take that off. It'll be the same across the whole keyboard. Really handy features right there that not too many synths offer. But the unconditional without the Keyfollow sounds like this. We'll do a slow attack. Here it's going to follow out the But you cannot beat the low end of these instruments. The Memorymoog just has a sound that just absolutely, it just has its own, it holds its own place. And that's a similar preset to what I showed you earlier using the voice modulation. I'll show you how notes work too. I hadn't showed you that real quick, so we'll go through each key. Kind of organ preset there, 45. Another weird one. one's using LFO3 as a LFO, or oscillator 3 as an LFO source, and it's tracking the filter and it's tracking the keyboard. Really pretty sounds. Here's a mono preset. Great preset there. And here's one with our arpeggiator turned on. That was another one of the unconditional contour. That's preset 71. And that was using a similar technique to how I built the Prophet 5 preset in 0. So arpeggiator. And this one here is a return to 0, which whenever I play a note, you actually got this button here that will return it to 0 whenever you replay a note. So it actually resets the contour, so it starts back like everything's reset. Here's another one that has a really fast arpeggiator. This is a good one to put the mono mode on. You hear just how great that sounds. 98. 99, and here's 0, which is the Prophet 5. But anyways, Val, I just want to take a minute here and show you your instrument and just give you an overview of it. Like I said, I'll address this one button that's not very sensitive. That just needs to be cleaned a little bit. Not a big deal there. I can knock that out. But besides that, everything's working great. Just want to make a video going over it. And as always, guys, appreciate you watching. And Val, thanks again for letting me restore your Memorymoog for you. But there'll be more to come here very soon. All y'all take care.